What's up, Total Drama fans? Welcome to our very first episode of Total Drama Aftermath Reborn. That's right, 16 years later, and here we are. I'm your host, Bridgette, and with me is my handsome hype man and soon-to-be fiancé, Geoff.
Sweet intro, babe. You always know how to set the tone. That's right, folks. 16 years have passed, and we're back to catch up with your favorite contestants and find out where life has taken them. We've got an amazing show lined up for you. We'll be diving into the wildest moments from the past, catching up with old friends, and of course, stirring up a bit of drama.
Well, what's Total Drama without the drama, right? Just before we introduce our guests, we just would like to extend a huge thank you for all the support from you guys. A lot of you have been watching since day one. And not only that, there's a lot of you that have been watching us from different parts of the world. Since our announcement regarding the Aftermath show, we've gotten countless of emails, DMs, and phone calls relating to past contestants. We truly wouldn't be where we are today had it not been for you fans out there. So without further ado, Geoff, would you like to do the honors?
With pleasure, my sweet lady. Our first guest won a gold medal in gymnastics, was the runner-up winner in Total Drama Season 5, was Sugar's rival, and crushed on a potential murderer. Introducing Sky!
Hey everybody out there! It's a pleasure to be here. You two have always done a good job hosting this Aftermath series. Keep it up.
How sweet of you. Thanks for that. Your support is always appreciated, and it's so nice to finally meet you. You look great.
Thanks, girl. My mom always said to stay fit and eat right. That way you'll age like fine wine.
It's good you made mention of that, because I sure could use some cardio after all that binge eating. It's so awesome to have you here. How's it feel to be in the Total Drama spotlight again?
It's surreal, Geoff. So much has changed, but the excitement is still the same nonetheless.
So Sky, how's life been treating you after your time on Total Drama, considering that you've only competed one time?
It's been amazing. I'm coaching gymnastics now and inspiring the next generation. One thing Total Drama definitely taught me is how to handle pressure in the heat of the moment. Those years of competing in high school paid off.
I'm so happy to hear that you're living your dream and accomplishing your endeavors. Between you and Courtney, though, it's hard to decide who's more acrobatic and flexible. Nothing in the world could get me to move like that.
I've definitely learned from Courtney's temper and aggression towards anything relating to challenges. Her ability to go through obstacles and avoiding pitfalls so effortlessly is quite impressive. I've not only did sports, but I paid close attention to how she competed, and to this day I still wonder why she never made it to the final 3, to say the least.
You make a good point there, Sky. But on the flip side, everyone has strengths and weaknesses. Hers just happened to be a delinquent who had to get her out of her goody-goody comfort zone. Those two lovebirds complement each other like cookies and cream, I tell you. But on the bright side, though, she lasted longer in later seasons. And not only that, she competed for 4 seasons. You gotta be real sky-high in popularity to be able to compete that many times.
I agree 1000%. I guess being on that artificial island for 1 season was for the best. It's no telling what Chris's next scheme would be.
You got that right, sis. Before we move forward and introduce our next guest, there's a lot. And I mean a lot of fans that want to know about your life updates with your mental health, friends that you've kept up with, and of course, your love life. So are you ready to get into some of these questions? There's a bunch of juicy ones that we're going to save for later on in the show.
Bring on the heat, Bridgette. I'm ready for it.
Now that's what I'm talking about. Sweetie, would you mind pulling up the screen and read from the top comments?
Sure thing. Our first question comes from Daffy, the Crazy Gamer Duck 8369. He says, Sky, how are things with your parents so far? Then the next one is from TD Editor M. Explain how your boyfriend proposed to you that day. Well, inquiring minds would like to know. That explains the photo on the screen from earlier.
Well, I've never had a bad relationship with my parents, but it did take me longer than usual to warm up to my father. He always was the sweet and sour type when it came to me. I'm the youngest of 3, and with me being his only daughter, it would make sense as to why he's the way he is. Fatherly instincts is all I could really tell you. Now, as far as my fiancé proposing to me, it almost felt unreal and cliché. Usually, when us kids watched romance movies in the past, the guy would always propose to the girl in some foreign location. These days, you're either going to court to get legally married or not getting married at all. So I was blessed enough to meet this guy from Italy, and once we went on our vacation, he proposed to me in the middle of a park in France. In case you're watching, I love you, Mark.
Oh my gosh, that is so sweet. It seems like you've earned your happy ending after all of the turmoil you went through during the show. I still look back at my embarrassing moments throughout the seasons. Mark is one in a million that you can't find nowadays. So I wish you both luck on your marriage. It's also a bonus that you have a solid relationship with both of your parents, too.
It definitely wasn't easy, but good things always comes to those who wait. I'm relieved that my dad actually likes him, even though my mom played a big role in it.
Oh yeah, I can relate. My dad still goes nuts, and I'd have to tell him to chill out, not be so tense. But anyway, did you want to ask one more question before we introduce one of our OGs, babe?
As you wish, Pumpkin. So this question here comes from Eshi24. They say, are you friends with anyone from the Pacatayo Island cast? That's a pretty good question, actually. We were gonna save this for later, but please do tell us who you've caught up with after season 5.
With pleasure. So ever since Sean won the cash prize, him, Jasmine, and myself started learning about each other's personal lives outside of the competition. I also became friends with Max. I figured the whole him being evil thing was just a hoax to stir up drama. Typical Chris. But I've seen it coming anyways. But soon after, he has a really sweet personality. Then lo and behold, all 4 of us started hanging out frequently. You could say we had a solid friend group. A whole lot better than the friends I had in high school, that is.
Hold the phone! So that explains why Max got eliminated. Because technically, he didn't lose any of the challenges, or got voted out. So does this mean that his evil personality was fake the entire time?
I think Geoff might be jumping the gun here. So since you were there in real time, could you verify if his evil act was an entire stunt?
Well, I wouldn't say it was 100% fake. Chris does have his ways of keeping people for an extended time until they're not useful anymore, I'll say.
Well, thanks for catching us to speed on everything, Sky. We'll get to the meat and potatoes with the remaining questions. And of course, introduce our next special guest after the break. You don't want to miss what's to come, folks, so hang tight and don't touch that remote.
Welcome back to Total Drama Aftermath Reborn, ladies and gentlemen. Usually, this is the part of the segment where we test our formal players' skills and reflexes to avoid killer machinery. Some of you may remember it as Truth or Hammer, but this time, since we're older, Bridge and I decided to chillax and refrain from harming our friends. Is that right, babe?
That's right, Honey Bun. I do say, you were quite the menace back in the days. Seems like aging has its perks. Alrighty then, folks. It's about time we introduce our next guest. Pan the camera to the screen, please. There we go. Looks like a familiar face, doesn't it? This guy here's someone we competed with back in season 1. Oh, and you do not want to cross him. He'll clock your tea in an instant.
That's right. He snaps back just like a provoked python. This next guest was a valedictorian in high school, got jumped by a bunch of wiener dogs, and is soon to be engaged. Noah, everybody!
Thank you for having me here once again, and hello to everyone. Wow, looks like locking those lips kept you too youthful. I'm impressed.
Good old Noah. You seem to haven't aged a bit either. I'm sure those textbooks and exams kept you busy. I'm proud of you, dude.
You got that right, sister. It's a good thing that I've taken similar academic courses in high school. Those professors sure know how to stress you out. Oh, look, it's my favorite contestant from season 5. Love the accessories and pants. They suit you really well.
Oh, well, thank you, Noah. I don't often get compliments these days about my wardrobe, and it totally means a bunch coming from an OG that I'm your favorite competitor.
So, dude, what have you been up to these days? Looks like you've been off the radar and doing your own thing since World Tour, man.
Well, my life has been pretty interesting these past few years. I thought that college was gonna take me out, but luckily, with the help of my roommates, I was able to pull through. Work field that I'm in is pretty good too, so despite the crazy events that potentially could have taken my life in Season 3, I say I'm happy to still be here.
I love that for you. I'm sure your new fiancé has kept you together and stress-free. How have you guys been, by the way?
Fantastic, Bridgette. We tend to keep things strictly confidential. I've always been a private person, and she's the same exact way. Keeps us out of drama, to say the least. No pun intended, by the way.
Sweet deal, bro. We got some questions lined up for you, and you pretty much know how this goes. So you ready?
Whoa there, there's no dangerous penalty of any sort? I'm starting to think you've gone soft on me, Geoff.
Yeah, well, Chris and the network had some offers. And you know, being young and naive will have you do anything for some quick cash. But enough about me. Let's get this started, shall we?
Bring it on. I'll just have to expect the unexpected.
Alrighty then. So the first question comes from Andy Craft YT. What is your favorite part about being with Emma?
Good question, Andy Craft. It's quite simple, really. I'm a non-confrontational type of guy. A good example could be us being out in public and a girl trying to shoot her shot, as they would say at me. She'd be the first to confront them before me. Between Kitty and her, I would say that Emma is more quick to get violent. Think of it like a lion protecting his lioness, but reverse.
Interesting dynamic. So with that, would you say that she's more of the protector in the relationship?
Not exactly. She knows her role as a woman, but she tends to have a shorter temper than I do. It's what keeps everything balanced, if that makes sense.
You don't see that every day. But when you put it like that, it makes a lot of sense. The next question comes from Eshi24. Are you close to anyone on the TDI cast besides Owen? Oh yeah, this is gonna be good.
I figured this question would come sooner or later, but throughout the years, my name, along with Eva and Izzy, started trending because of our trio group back when Owen had won Season 1. To this day, I still don't know why he didn't just keep the money. That was mistake number 1. But anyway, our group went viral because nobody ever thought that US3 would work together. Lo and behold, after that, we started hanging out post-Season 1. Turns out that Izzy and I were Eva's closest friends. She explained and vented about how she couldn't make much friends in high school, but once she was with us during the competition, she saw fit that she could be around us even outside of Total Drama. So ever since she told me that, I was shocked.
Wait a minute, dude. So after all these years, that's why Eva was so grumpy? Bro, you gotta explain more. Because just imagine if she controlled her temper, she probably would have competed in Season 2 and 3.
Hold on now, babe. I know this is new info, but we still have questions to ask Sky. Don't forget about that.
Not to worry, Bridge. I'm sure explaining this through will give the majority some clarity. So Team E-Scope started becoming the trending topic, but we quite literally became an official friend group. Yeah, Izzy still has her witty ways, but I started taking more notes and having more deep convos with Eva. I don't want to take up too much time though, so maybe once she makes an appearance, she'll probably tell you everything else.
Well, would you look at that? I knew Eva had a soft spot in there somewhere. I've always wondered why you three always trended on the internet. I never imagined you three would be as close as you are. But now that you clarified everything, all of the Izzy and Eva fans could finally sleep at night knowing that info. So this time, we're gonna ask you a three-way question to move a bit faster. So the next questions we have are from Gil Afonso 876, Jessica Rupinski, and Thomas Shallot Plays. How have you and Owen been? Is Owen back with Izzy? And then what would you have done different while you were still competing in Total Drama? Surely, if you actually showed team spirit, you would have gone further in Season 1.
All great questions from everyone that asked. Firstly, Owen and I keep in close contact at least a couple times a week. Sometimes life throws different things at you, whether it's good or bad. In this case, I didn't think Owen and I would be best friends. We're total opposites. But you know what they say? Opposites attract one another. So since the spin-off season, I really don't go a week without interacting with Owen. So pretty much everyone knows how our friendship has evolved over the years. Secondly, Owen got back with Izzy shortly after Revenge of the Island. He hasn't dated much after that whole plane incident that occurred. I still don't even know how they've recovered so quickly, despite the damages. But yeah, they've been solid since then. And for those that are Owen and Izzy fans, you won't have to worry about them splitting up anytime soon. They were both made for each other, and everyone eventually realized it. Lastly, I'll make this pretty short and sweet. I was still getting acquainted with the other 21 contestants in Season 1. I honestly wasn't focused on the prize money. I was more concerned with my health and well-being, considering that we were in the middle of a camp surrounded by deadly animals. $100,000 is a lot of cash, but no cash is worth risking your life over. I don't care how much it is. So yeah, hopefully that answers everyone's question.
Wow, way to keep it nice and concise, dude. I've always liked your straightforwardness. Speaking of Owen, though, I wonder what he's up to. Sounds like bro is living the dream. Can't wait to have him on here.
Ah, yes, I'm 1,000% sure he'd come back on here with the exchange of mango habanero wings, my friend.
Oh, you already know we'll be 10 steps ahead with that, Broham. Thanks for catching us up to speed, though. You're always appreciated. At this time, without further ado, it's time we introduce our last guest. But before we do that, do you guys remember Season 4? Yeah. Oh, man. One of the wildest total drama seasons of the decade, if you ask me. Mutated animals, toxic waste, and a 4-star hotel for the winners that won challenges. But throughout the years, a lot of you have had questions about this certain individual that was exposed to the waste. Well, I, Geoff, am telling you to have no fear, my friends, because word on the street says it that she's fully recovered. That's right. We've obtained reports and documents that she has received the highest quality of medication and treated by the world's most professional doctors from the time that she's been mutated up until now. I've also got word that she's won a gold belt from women's wrestling. Could you confirm that, Bridge?
Absolutely, sweetie. And not only that, but since her recovery, she's been traveling with close friends and has been receiving a bunch of love from social media from being an online influencer.
She looks stunning!
I second that.
And wait a sec, is that Lindsay who commented on her post?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. This contestant has been through thick and thin. Her skin was once orange and had green hair, was Ontario's most popular fashion model to date, and has a video game addicted boyfriend. Introducing Dakota!
Hey everyone! Wow, it's incredible yet weird to be on the Aftermath show for the first time. I still can't believe it's been 12 years since I first stepped foot on that toxic-infested island. Time surely flies when you're living the glam life. Whoops! Forgot the most important thing. Gotta make sure my mascara and lip gloss is up to par. You know what they say, with every brush and blend, your beauty's on the mend.
Dakota, I'm just so lost with my words right now. You look amazing. How does it feel to be here after all these years?
It feels incredible, Bridgette. Total drama was such a huge part of my life, and it's surreal to be on this fabulous stage.
You've come a long way since your days on Revenge of the Island. Tell us, what have you been up to all this time since your recovery?
Well, I've been really busy. I launched my own fashion line, worked as a model, and became a social media influencer. Plus, I've been doing some charity work, which has been super rewarding. I'm just beyond blessed, Geoff.
That's fantastic. We're so proud of you. And speaking of proud moments, what does your parents think of you bouncing back from being a mutant to making a crazy amount of income with your success?
Thought-provoking question. I'd say that our future generation would be set for life. If you want nice things, you gotta get yourself out there. That gold belt I won from wrestling is 24-karat gold. So since I've slimmed down, it doesn't fit me. So I gave it to my dad for all the hard work and time he put in to take care of me. Thanks, Daddy.
I gotta say, Dakota, your boyfriend Sam is sure lucky to have someone like you. Watching from behind the scenes and as a past contestant, you sure went through quite a lot.
I agree, but it's no bad blood towards anyone. I'm sure everything happened the way it needed to happen for a reason, even if it's unfair sometimes.
Hey, Bridgette and Geoff. I have about a handful of questions I want to ask, if you don't mind.
Sure thing. we'll go ahead and ask Dakota a few questions from the fans, and then we'll leave the floor to you guys.
Looks like I need to be prepared for the big stuff. Well, I'm ready when you are.
Awesome. So our first question is from C-Tree. How have you and Sam been up to? Are you friends with Bridgette? Last time she was on the show, you two were on the same boat. And thoughts on Lindsay?
Thanks for the question, C-Tree. Sam and I are great. He's such a pure soul. I'm missing him already as we speak. And yes, the co-host of the show is indeed my friend. She's always been the same since I met her on the boat. And I think Lindsay is very pretty. I vision her and I on an album cover someday. And for those that are wondering, no, I didn't steal Paula's bathing suit.
Very interesting. Many people wanted to know the dynamic between you and Lindsay, especially since you two didn't have the chance to interact. You both have a lot in common when you really think about it. So before we get to the next segment of the show, there's something I want to ask you personally. What made you give the game guy a chance before anybody else you've met in Season 4? Because you don't often see models get with geeks unless they're bringing something significant to the table. So, enlighten us, if you don't mind.
Honestly, people have the wrong interpretation when it comes to me. Yeah, I'm a fashion model, and it may seem like I come from a rich family, but that's not really the case at all. My parents worked at their jobs consistently, and I just happened to get an opportunity that most kids at age 16 don't get. So here's a quick story time. During my sophomore year in high school, I was a cheerleader. And during homecoming, the photography group came and took a couple of photos of different students around campus. So long story short, more and more people started to see the pictures that I took, and it went viral. Since then, I started modeling for different magazine covers and billboards for beauty and wellness. I say all that to say that yes, most models won't really get with snot-nosed geeks, believe me. But honestly, I don't really have a type. When I met Sam, I felt a connection that I haven't felt in a long time. He has his ways, but I was never the superficial type to go for the bad boys. Gross. Most of my friends were in abusive relationships, and my dad taught me to never go for the exterior. Even if something looks good on the outside, like a cake, for example, good on the outside, but the inside could taste really sour. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, Geoff.
Oh, definitely. I tell you what, the fans are gonna have a field day with this info. Bridge, anything else you want to ask?
Actually, yes. So Sky, I know you have your questions, but the audience wants to know, whatever happened with the whole Dave situation? You've told us earlier that you've been proposed to, which is wonderful, but what exactly happened within that gap before you met Mark? Did you ever try and reconcile with him despite his psychotic behavior?
Ugh! Okay, look, I know we're grown adults now, and I still believe that people can change regardless of their flaws. But Dave was just one of those people who I wish I never met. I was a fool for falling for someone like him. Granted, he had some level of charisma and was a really sweet guy in the beginning, wouldn't you guys agree?
That's highly debatable, Sky.
I'm with Noah on this one, sister. Even in my mutated state, I still had a functioning brain to know that he was weird. Sorry.
It's fine. Thanks for being honest. The main thing is that I wasn't happy in my relationship at the time that I was competing. Keith was my boyfriend since middle school, and I just wasn't getting the same effort that I was getting when we first started dating. So, since I met Dave on the island, I started feeling that connection I once did before. I'm surprised I lasted as long as I did. You could say that he was my motivation, but you guys seen it for yourselves. I gave him more chances than I should. His over-obsessiveness and arrogance ultimately cost him a potential relationship and a chance at $1 million. But I don't hate him by any means. I sure hope he's okay and got the help that he needed. Heck, I hope he found someone that's better than me. He deserves it after all.
We'll make sure to invite him on the show, and then he could clarify some things on his end. But unfortunately, we're out of time. I know. Thank you guys so much for showing your faces and catching the fans up to speed with everything.
And on that note, we've extended our peanut gallery by 10 times. So we'll have our main one and then our newly installed booth. So, any last words before we close out the show?
I'm definitely sitting in the booth next time. Bridgette and Geoff are stepping it up, people. So be there or be square.
Definitely looking forward to the next episode for sure. Ah, would you look at that. They're giving each other the look. I knew those two wouldn't last until the end of the show.
How about some milkshakes from Eddie's Burger Shack, then a couple rounds on the beach?
You smooth, smooth criminal. Let's do it.
All right, ladies, want to shout yourself out?
For the ladies, use code Dakota28 to unleash your inner diva with Dare to Dazzle on my website. You don't want to miss the 30% sale. I'll also be going on tour in Bora Bora. Who knows? You might just see me on the shore with a margarita, so don't be afraid to say hello.
For my friend group, my wedding will be live streamed on my selfiegram, so stay tuned for that. You guys are more than welcome to come by the way.
Sweet. You can also find me and Emma on my selfiegram. Till next time.
See you later.